Alright, so today we are talking about one of the coolest, most intense, and most real movies ever made about competition, ego, and obsession, The Hustler from 1961. This movie is not just about pool. It is about pride, confidence, self-destruction, and the price of wanting to be the best. Paul Newman delivers one of the most unforgettable performances of his entire career. But behind the camera and behind the scenes, there are tons of secret stories and details that most people never hear about. So, if you love classic movies, Hollywood history, or movies that hit hard emotionally, sit back, relax, and let's dive into 20 hidden facts about The Hustler from 1961. Fact 1: the movie almost did not get made at all. Believe it or not, The Hustler almost never happened. Studios in the late 1950s did not think a movie about pool halls, gamblers, and broken people would sell tickets. Executives felt it was too dark, too depressing, and too slow. They wanted flashy musicals, westerns, or big war movies. A black and white movie about a guy shooting pool for hours sounded like box office poison. It took serious convincing from producer Robert Rossen, who truly believed in the story. He fought to keep the movie serious, realistic, and emotional. If the studio had its way, The Hustler might have been turned into a lighter, more romantic sports movie. Instead, Rossen pushed through and gave us something raw, honest, and unforgettable. Fact 2: Paul Newman had never played pool like this before. Paul Newman looked like a natural pool shark in the movie, but the truth is he was not anywhere near that skilled. Before filming started, he trained intensely for months. He practiced daily, learning stance, grip, timing, and shot selection. Professional pool players were brought in to coach him. They made sure his movements looked real, not flashy. Newman took it very seriously. He wanted pool players watching the movie to believe every shot. By the time filming ended, Newman had developed a real love for the game. Later in life, he would continue playing pool casually and even joked that The Hustler made people think he was way better than he really was. Fact 3: most of the pool shots are real. Unlike many sports movies, The Hustler avoided trick photography whenever possible. Most of the shots you see on screen were actually made by professional players. Paul Newman performed many shots himself, but the hardest ones were done by experts. What makes it impressive is how the camera was positioned. Long takes, minimal cutting, and wide angles were used. This was intentional. The director wanted the audience to feel the tension of every shot. Even pool professionals today still praise the movie for its authenticity. Very few sports films have ever respected the real game the way The Hustler did. Fact 4: Minnesota Fats was based on a real person, kind of. Jackie Gleason played Minnesota Fats with so much confidence, charm, and humor that he became legendary. Many people assumed the character was directly based on a real famous pool player named Minnesota Fats. The truth is complicated. The author of the novel claimed the character was fictional, but the real Minnesota Fats strongly disagreed. He said the character was clearly inspired by him, and even sued over it. Regardless of the controversy, Gleason's performance was so iconic that it permanently defined how people imagined old-school pool hustlers: big, loud, confident, and impossible to ignore. Fact 5: Jackie Gleason was not a pool expert either. Jackie Gleason looked like a master at the table, but just like Newman, he relied heavily on coaching and doubles. What he did have was perfect body language. Gleason understood rhythm, confidence, and timing. Even when he missed a shot, his posture sold the illusion. He made Minnesota Fats feel like someone who had spent his entire life in smoky pool halls. That personality is what made the character unforgettable, not just the shots, but the swagger. Fact 6: the dark tone was a huge risk in 1961. In 1961, audiences were not used to movies that ended without a happy, clean resolution. The Hustler is bleak. It shows addiction, manipulation, loneliness, and emotional damage. Studios worried people would leave theaters feeling uncomfortable, and they were right. Some audiences did, but critics loved it. They praised its honesty and maturity. Over time, the movie became more respected than loved at first. Today, it is considered one of the most realistic character studies ever put on film. Fact 7: the movie was shot in black and white on purpose. Color films were already popular in 1961, so choosing black and white was not about budget. It was an artistic choice. Black and white added grit, texture, and realism. It made the pool halls feel grimy and heavy. It removed glamour and focused attention on faces, sweat, and emotion. The shadows and lighting became part of the storytelling. The movie feels timeless partly because of this decision. Fact 8: Sarah was one of the most tragic characters of the era. Piper Laurie played Sarah, a quiet, wounded woman struggling with trauma and isolation. At the time, female characters were often written as love interests or background figures. Sarah was different. She was broken, complicated, and painfully real. Her performance shocked audiences. She did not try to be likable, she felt authentic. Laurie received an Oscar nomination for this role, and many critics still consider it one of the most heartbreaking performances of the 1960s. Fact 9. Laurie thought her career was over. Before The Hustler, Laurie had stepped away from Hollywood. She felt burned out and unsure about acting. She almost turned down the role. She did not think the movie would matter much. Ironically, it became the role that revived her career after the film's success. She was suddenly taken seriously as a dramatic actress. The Hustler changed everything for her. Fact 10. George C. Scott played one of cinema's coldest villains. George C. Scott played Bert Gordon, a smooth, calculating manipulator who never raises his voice. At the time, movie villains were often loud or violent. Bert was different. He was calm, polite, and terrifying. Scott played him with quiet menace. Every word felt like a threat. Many filmmakers later cited Bert Gordon as inspiration for future antagonists, proof that sometimes the scariest characters are the ones who stay calm. Fact 11. The Hustler was really about self-destruction. Even though pool is at the center of the story, the movie is not actually about winning. It is about ego, about proving something at any cost, about confusing talent with worth. Fast Eddie is his own worst enemy. He wins and still loses because he cannot stop pushing. That theme resonated with audiences far beyond pool players. It made the movie universal. Fact 12. The script was rewritten constantly. The script went through many changes during filming. Dialogue was adjusted to sound more natural. Scenes were shortened or extended, depending on performance. Paul Newman often worked with the director to refine lines. They wanted it to sound real, not polished. This is why the conversations feel raw and lived in. It sounds like people talking, not actors reciting lines. Fact 13. Pool halls became trendy after the movie. After The Hustler was released, pool halls across America saw a huge increase in popularity. Young people suddenly wanted to play pool. They wanted to dress like Fast Eddie and act confident. The movie unintentionally sparked a pool revival. Cue sales went up, new halls opened. Few movies have ever influenced a sport so directly. Fact 14. The ending was considered too harsh. Some studio executives wanted a softer ending. They suggested redemption, romance, or forgiveness. The director refused. He believed the ending had to hurt because growth is painful. That decision paid off. The ending stayed with audiences long after the credits rolled. It forced viewers to think. Fact 15. Paul Newman considered this one of his best roles. Out of his many iconic performances, Paul Newman often pointed to The Hustler as one of his favorites. He felt it pushed him emotionally. It forced him to expose vulnerability, arrogance, and weakness. He was proud of how real the character felt. Even years later, he spoke about Fast Eddie as if he were a real person. Fact 16. The movie influenced future sports films. The Hustler changed how sports movies were made. It showed that competition could be internal, not just external. Later films like Rocky, Raging Bull, and others borrowed its character-driven approach. Winning became secondary to personal struggle. Without The Hustler, the sports movie genre would look very different. Fact 17. The sound design was extremely subtle. Notice how quiet the movie feels. There is no dramatic music telling you how to feel. You hear chalk, clicking balls, rolling murmurs in the background. That realism pulls you into the world. Silence becomes part of the tension, especially during big matches. Fact 18. It took years for the movie to be fully appreciated. At release, The Hustler was respected, but not universally loved. Over time, its reputation grew. Film schools studied it, critics rewatched it, new generations discovered it. Today, it regularly appears on lists of greatest films ever made. Fact 19. The Color sequel changed everything. When The Color of Money came out decades later, it showed Fast Eddie older, wiser, and calmer, but many fans believe the original is deeper, darker, and more honest. The Hustler stands alone as a character study. The sequel added closure, but the original defined the legend. Fact 20. The Hustler is still relevant today. Even now, the themes hit hard: ambition, obsession, ego, and self-worth. It does not matter if you play pool. We all know someone like Fast Eddie, or maybe we have been him at some point. That is why the movie still works. It tells the truth. So those were 20 hidden facts about The Hustler from 1961, a movie that looks simple on the surface, but goes incredibly deep. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe, and let me know which classic movie you want next, because Hollywood history is full of stories just like this. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.